taxi drivers to help government in enforcing the COVID-19 standard operating procedures. We have the report in our bulletin today. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Nahaba Kajura, and in the headlines. Government approves new board to manage the environment in Uganda. ECOWAS suspends Mali from region bloc over coup. And in our sports today, Uganda Cranes start training ahead of South Africa friendly match. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. Africa Today starts with one of our top stories. Taxi operators under their umbrella body, the Kampala Operational Tax Stages Association, have vowed to reinforce the COVID-19 standard operating procedures in accordance with the warning messages by the President of the Republic of Uganda. Our reporter has more.
This was announced by the Kampala Operational Tax Stages Association Public Relations Officer Moses Birungi Maweje while addressing the press in Kampala. Birungi said that although they are trying to reinforce the guidelines, they are challenged by the Kampala Capital City Authority and police because they don't arrest the culprits who refuse to adhere to the special operating procedures.
We are being twagala okusaba cases etuyambe bwetuba twebufosinga guidelines noba SOPs babeere kumpi naffe. Tulina abantu betutasobola kukolako naye ate nga twandibadde twahandingova eri authorities nga KCCA ne police naye nabo bali mu reluctance nti bwe tubakwasa abantu abo bagamba tebalina teeka mu bavunaana ate nga ffe situsobola kuvunaana okujjako okuyimiriza emmoloka ntetikka oba driver munnaku ba kondakita tukuwadde ennaku bbiri tokola. N'olwekyo kesisi etugisabe bere kumpi naffe bayitawe ne poliisi tube nga tukwatagana n'okusingira ddala tetusobola okwekolamu omulimu naye abasaabaze baffe babeere very strict ku kintu kino. Waliwo abamu abagambibwa nti bakka n'oba ng'olina gy'ova ozze ng'ogenda mu paaka kulinnya taxi katugambe paaka empya ogenda kulinnya taxi n'osanga omuntu ebweru n'agamba nti ogenda wanigenda Masaka ate na
Birungi has appealed to passengers to always note the number plates of various vehicles that carry more than stipulated number of passengers in this season of COVID-19 pandemic.
Tugamba driver ne conductor bwe mwate kuba ne masks ezitaka wansi wa mmoloka mutemupa kusanitiza bottles ezitaka wansi wa kubanga omuntu w'abaana abidde mu paaka ng'ayingira naye ujagende ebweru wali emuloko ezironda abaana tomanyi oli bwakola kino. Naye in that shade tulina ekiwandiiko ekyo kujja tusonyiwa ngenda kiba waabamu bamugenda naye kyenjagala okubasomera.
According to standard operating procedures issued by the Ministry of Health in Uganda, taxi drivers must carry 9 passengers who are sanitized at entry. Passengers must have masks and social distancing in the car. While speaking to the public on Saturday, President Museveni warned the country about the surging number of COVID-19 cases. TV Africa News, Kachanchu Mtabazi reporting.
Thank you so much, our reporter, and we pray whatever the taxi operators have put in plan to be successful. Now moving on, government has approved the appointment of a mixed board of experts ranging from the environmentalists, academia, gender and the private sector to oversee the operations of the National Environment Management Authority. Our reporter has more.
The new board members, according to the Environment Act, shall oversee the functionality of NEMA and ensure the commitment by members to serve the institutional and national environment and sustainable development interests of the country. The new board is comprised of Professor James Okot Okum as board chairperson, Dr. Priscilla Nyandon, Dr. John Ekure, Dr. Florence Grace Adong, Engineer Katwiremu Yorokam, Christine Mayengo, Khan Amos Lapenga, and Jimmy Chimogeis Kuka. The National Environment Management Authority is a government regulatory body formed by an Act of Parliament, the Environmental Management and Coordination Act, CAP 387, mandated to supervise and coordinate all environmental matters within the country.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Now, former presidential candidate, also human rights activist, Joseph Kabuleta has said that they have put up a legal team to help individuals who are being discriminated at any workplace due to the fact that they have not taken the COVID-19 vaccine. Our reporter has more.
Addressing a news conference at Serena Conference Center in Kampala, Joseph Kabuleta cited the European Council passed resolution stating that nobody shall be forced to get the COVID-19 jab, and also noted that forcing people to vaccinate is against the Ministry of Health guidelines.
We shall call people if somebody does not want. If you want to be vaccinated, all the better. Actually, Dr. Idru told me that, we can encourage people, but he made it very clear that it is illegal. It contravenes, he don't use the word illegal, that is for him. He says it contravenes standard medical procedure for anybody to force somebody to take the vaccine.
And because they have not done enough, there is doubt. Not only is there doubt in normal people like all of us here, there is doubt even in the medical personnel themselves. So if a medical person who is working in hospital every day is in doubt of taking a vaccination, a COVID vaccination, you and me, who are lay persons, why would we take it?
Daniel Waliemera, a human rights lawyer, went ahead and stressed that forcing people to be vaccinated is a violation of human dignity and privacy, since people have not been sensitized enough about the side effects of the COVID-19 vaccine.
The studies that are being done actually for the COVID vaccine, that some of them are packaging, a real clinical study takes 10 years, 20 years, but for this particular one, it literally took, a very short period of time, and that raises, a number of questions, and so that's why informed consent is extremely important.
Moses Mugisha, a certified medical practitioner, said health officials have not told the masses about the benefits, risks, and implications of the COVID-19 vaccine. Nalgo Muyingo, Africa Today.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Now, no one knows the technicalities of this, whether we shall have the lockdown or not. But let's be patient and hear from the president on Wednesday. Well, moving on, a cross-section of Ugandans who reside in or usually travel to South Africa are excited about Uganda Airlines commencing its Entebbe-Johannesburg flights today, May 31st, and will operate 4 flights a week, with the return air tickets costing about 1.2 million shillings. Our reporter has more.
According to Monica Rubombora, the resident representative Uganda Airlines South Africa, her team is working tirelessly to ensure each flight is fully booked. She added that bookings so far indicate that several people in South Africa want to travel regardless of restrictions put in place to combat the spread of COVID-19. The maiden flight is slated for 7:40 p.m., while that from Johannesburg is slated for 1 a.m. Trips are expected to last at most 4 hours. Meanwhile, Roger Wamala, the commercial director, Uganda Airlines, said that Johannesburg is important for the national carrier because it hosts a large number of Ugandans, and also a number of South African companies operate in Uganda, including ShopRite, Game Stores, MTN, Standard Bank, among others. The airline currently flies to 9 destinations in 6 countries, which include Nairobi, Mombasa, Bujumbura, Zanzibar, Dar es Salaam, Kilimanjaro, Kinshasa, Juba, and Mogadishu.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Now let's go for a quick break. We shall come back with more news. Well, Welcome back for the break. You're still watching TV Africa, the right to know. In our international news today, a week after Mount Nyiragongo roared back into life, causing devastation and sparking a mass exodus, the Democratic Republic of Congo President, His Excellency Felix Tshisekedi, has said during a press conference on Saturday that the situation is under control, although his government had mistakenly announced another volcano. Our reporter has more.
More than 1,000 refugees left a camp in Rwanda to return to the Democratic Republic of Congo on Saturday, according to officials, after escaping over the border, fearing Mount Nyiragongo could erupt again. The eruption stopped, but warnings in recent days that it could blow again sent nearly 400,000 people rushing from Goma, with thousands crossing into Rwanda at a nearby border point. But on Saturday, an estimated 1,200 had left for Goma, a Rwanda government, according to an official at Rugerero who spoke to the media on condition of anonymity, and military trucks were seen transporting refugees to the border. Bob Bakabamba, the UN Refugee Agency's deputy representative for operations in Rwanda, told the media that the camp's population had swollen in recent days from around 800 evacuees closer to 2,000. DR Congo's government said Saturday that the eruption of a second nearby volcano it had announced hours earlier was a false alarm. Its last major eruption in 2002 claimed around 100 lives, and the deadliest eruption on record killed more than 600 people in 1977.
Thank you so much, our reporter. Now moving on in our international news today, Rwandan President Paul Kagame has said that France's recent acknowledgement over its role in the 1994 genocide in his country is a big step, even if it didn't come with an apology. He said this during an interview with the international media at the presidency office in Kigali over the weekend. We have the report.
France President Emmanuel Macron, during a historic visit to the East African nation last week, recognized France's role in the killing of 800,000, mostly Tutsi Rwandans, and said only the survivors could grant the gift of forgiveness, stopping short of an apology and stressing that France was not complicit in the actual violence. Macron went further than his predecessors in acknowledging that Paris backed the genocidal regime and ignored warnings of looming massacres. Kagame, who led the Tutsi rebellion that ended the genocide and has regularly accused France of complicity in the crimes, applauded Macron for speaking the truth and said his words were more valuable than an apology. Expanding on his remarks in an interview with the media, the veteran Rwandan leader expressed doubt about ever getting an entirely satisfactory answer. France provided political and military support to Kigali during a civil war preceding the genocide and long stood accused of turning a blind eye to the dangers posed by Hutu extremists in a country scarred by large-scale massacres in its past.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Now moving on, the traditional leaders of Namibia's Herero and Nama people have rejected the German financial compensation offer of 1 billion euros for what it admits as genocide in colonial era. Namibia saying it's not enough and they want repatriations too. Our reporter has more.
Germany's Foreign Minister Heiko Maas had earlier on Friday said that in a gesture to recognize immense suffering inflicted on the victims, Germany will support reconstruction and development of Namibia via a financial program of 1.1 billion euros, which sum will be paid over 30 years. Namibian President Hage Geingoob's spokesman Alfredo Hengari told the media that the acceptance on the part of Germany that a genocide was committed is the first step in the right direction, the second being preparations. Activist groups in both countries also criticized the lack of direct reparation, with German-based initiative Berlin Postcolonial saying it was doomed to fail and not worth the paper it is written on. The agreement came after more than 5 years of negotiations between the two countries over events in the territory held by Berlin from 1884 to 1915. German colonial settlers killed tens of thousands of indigenous Herero and Nama people in 1904 and 1908 massacres, labeled the first genocide of the 20th century by historians and poisoning relations between Namibia and Germany for years.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Now, moving on, in Mali, West African leaders have suspended Mali from their regional bloc on Sunday over a coup last week, although the Ghanaian president believes that the economic community of West African states must remain resolute in supporting the people of Mali to find a peaceful resolution. Our reporter has more.
President of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, has urged leaders of state present to remain resolute in supporting the people of Mali to find a peaceful solution and restore democracy and stability in the country. He stressed that they must critically examine the dynamics of the current situation and make informed decisions, using the opportunity to reiterate on behalf of ECOWAS their continued commitment to the peaceful transition in Mali. ECOWAS continued to urge all international partners, including the African Union, the United Nations, and the European Union, to support the successful implementation of the transition in Mali. Shili Ayokol Boshri, Ghana Foreign Minister, said that the heads of state resolved to have the mediator remain in place and continue to engage the Malian Authority to ensure that Mali does not derail from the conditions set by the Economic Community of West African States and the international communities. Mali's new president, Kano Assimi Goita, seized power by deposing the president and prime minister and forced their resignation, a move regional bloc leaders condemned and said violated mediation steps.
Thank you so much, our reporter. Now let's go for a quick break. We shall come back with the business news. Break is still watching TV Africa, the right channel. Now, in a business news today, compensation talks with the owner of Ever Given, the over 200,000 ton capacity container ship that ran around on March 23rd, blocking Egypt's Suez canals roughly 12 and 15 million USD per day. Traffic for just under a week are at a standstill.
Chairman of Suez Canal Authority, Osama Rabi, said that in regards to the legal situation, the Ever Given ship is now detained in the lakes area of the canal under a judicial order which was announced last Saturday in the court. According to the Suez Canal Authority, Egypt lost between 12 million and 15 million US dollars per day of closure. Initially, Cairo had demanded 916 million US dollars before lowering the amount to 600 US dollars and then 550 million US dollars. The Admiral explains that the demanded sum represents the losses and damages suffered during the salvage operation worked on round the clock by 600 employees. He added that a total of 122 ships loaded with 26 million tons of goods were blocked in March. However, dollar revenues in April were 15% higher than in 2020.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Now, in Africa Today Health, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa stated on Sunday that government will reimpose harsher anti-COVID-19 measures to ensure that health facilities are not overwhelmed and lives saved, anticipating that the nation will soon face a third wave of the pandemic. Our reporter has more.
Cyril Ramaphosa said that the proportion of COVID-19 tests that are positive has more than doubled in the last month, insisting that it may only be a matter of time before the whole country will have entered a third wave. With almost 1.65 million cases and 56,363 fatalities, South Africa is now the worst affected country on the continent, with so far only little more than 1% of the population has been immunized, with the drive to vaccinate the elderly began last week. The government, under pressure for failing to purchase vaccinations swiftly, claims it has paid for doses to cover 40 million of South Africa's 59 million people, all enough to achieve herd immunity. Ramaphosa has repeatedly condemned vaccine appetite, with rich countries buying up most of the vaccine doses. South Africa and India are campaigning for an end to patent rights on coronavirus vaccines to help every country to manufacture its own supplies. French President Emmanuel Macron arrived on Friday in South Africa for a lightning trip to discuss COVID vaccine access for Africa.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Now, away from health, in Africa Today Sports, only 14 of the 34 Samoan players showed up at Omondi Stadium in Lugogo on Monday morning as Uganda Cranes kicked preparations for the South African friendly match. Our reporter has more.
The Cranes will tussle it out with the Hugo Boss Bafana Bafana on June 23. The friend-based stars, including the goalkeepers Isima Watenga and Matthias Kigonya, are not yet in the country. None of the 7 Vipers players on the team was present as the club intensified their preps for the upcoming Uganda Cup second round game with the Sports Club Villa on Wednesday. And ex-Spurs striker Eric Kambale did not report the camp, but his captain Enoch Olusimbi trained at Lugogo. Coach Abdallah Mubiru said that some of the missing players took their COVID-19 test late and their results are not yet out, and so they could not risk including them in the session. The training zeroed down to 7 sides on the half pitch as the on-field players tested goalkeepers Charles Lukwago and Simon Tamale. The South African friendly will fine-tune the team ahead of the upcoming 2020 World Cup qualifiers, where Uganda can visit Kenya on September 1st before hosting Mali 5 days later. Katende Chabasinga reporting for TV Africa.
Thank you so much, our reporter. Now, before we end our bulletin, let's have a recap of our top stories. Government approves new board to manage the environment in Uganda. ECOWAS suspends Mali from region bloc over coup. And in our sports today, Uganda Cranes start training ahead of South Africa friendly match. Well, thank you so much for watching with us. For more, we started. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We shall keep updating you. It is TV Africa, the right to know.
This is Africa, and that was the news.